Rather lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. In this one, we're going to be rating Arsenal's transfer window. It is finally over. No one is going to come in until January. So how have we done in terms of incomings, in terms of outgoings as well? In the comment section, what you're going to do is you're going to be rating every transfer we have made out of 10. That is how we're going to be doing. That's the criteria. Do not forget that as you rate the transfer window, you have to include the aspect of outgoings as well, because like Mikel said at the end of last season, if you want to have a successful transfer window, it is two-way. You bring in new players, but you also have to get rid of the players that you think are no longer, are no longer necessary to the cause of the club. And I think we've really done that very, very well, despite the fact that we've had a few frustrations and disappointments along the way. So hit the like button. Let's get this video to 800 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We're very close to 60,000 subscribers. Now, let's start off with the incomings because I thought we really had a very good start to the window in terms of incomings. We didn't take a lot of time to start pulling deals off, and we started pulling off deals, the big ones, and that is what I really loved about this window. We never started by pulling off deals that you feel are not really necessary. Every player we signed in this window was absolutely necessary and was absolutely huge. So let's start off with the Marquinhos. He's the first player we signed in this summer, and I think it's going to be a very, very big player. It's going to be a success at Arsenal Football Club. Many people have actually had mixed reactions about him. He's going to go out on loan. He will stay at the club. He's going to be part of the under-21s. He'll be part of the under-23s. There is a lot of talk about Marquinhos, but this is what I'm going to say. We have already seen a Brazilian talent coming in from Ituano in Brazil, that is Gabriel Martinelli, and make a very huge impact, write a big statement on this Arsenal side. Right now, Gabriel Martinelli is one of our biggest performers. But how old is he? He's only 20 years of age. I think he's going to be turning 21 very, very soon. I'm looking at Marquinhos in the same lens. I'm looking at him as a player that has come into this Arsenal side, very young. No one expects him to, put in this kind of big performances. But remember, we have the Europa League, we have the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. There is a lot of time. There is a lot of chances. There are going to be a lot of opportunities for him to showcase what he's all about. I think he's a fantastic player. Mikel Arteta, time and again, he's already including him in matchday squads, and that shows you how important that signing was, and how true the manager actually believes in him, and how deep he actually trusts him. So I think Marquinhos is a good signing. We didn't spend a lot of money, and I think he's a very young prospect. So I'm gonna give that one a 7 out of 10. We didn't actually spend a lot of money, but one player that will definitely become a headline maker for Arsenal. I think the Europa League is going to be a very key competition for him. Now that we've not signed in a new winger, we don't have another wide forward. It's going to be about Martinelli and Saka in the Premier League, and then the likes of Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, Emile Smith-Rowe in the Europa League. So Marquinhos for me is a 7 out of 10 signing. I would say a 7.5, but I would say 7 out of 10, given the value of money. And I would really say that if Arsenal wanted to bring in someone, on the wide areas, we could have done better than Marquinhos. But I think it's good spotting such a talent and then bringing them in. My honest reaction about this one is give it time. It's not one signing that is going to come around very early. I mean, he needs time to adapt to the Premier League and time to adapt to the UK as well, the environment and things like that. But coming into a squad with very many Brazilians now, it's just going to feel like home for him. And I think he will get on very, very well. So 7 out of 10. Not want to impact our Premier League season unless Martinelli picks up an injury or Saka picks up an injury. But one of the players that I think are going to be really growing together with Mikel Arteta's squad. Then we signed Fabio Vieira from FC Porto, 40 million euros. We've not seen Fabio Vieira make his debut. We've not even seen him in preseason. It is quite remarkable because if you look at how the headlines that were written about him, Mikel Arteta told Edu to get that deal done very quickly. And all the reports and all the writers in Portugal have actually labeled Fabio Vieira as one of the best Portuguese young talents. And now he represented Portugal in the in the under-21s where they played against Emile Smith-Rowe and England. And Emile Smith-Rowe himself has said, I've played against him. He's the player you don't want to play against, but a player you want to play on their side. So a lot has been said about Fabio Vieira. We've seen the clips. We've seen him in the UEFA Champions League. Another creative midfielder. First and foremost, the intelligence and the prudence of this deal takes it to an 8 out of 10. I mean, with Martin Odegaard, everyone could have thought our priorities were only defensive midfield and central midfield in the midfield area. But the truth is, without Martin Odegaard, you are going to be lacking so much. And the prudence and the ability to see that thus far by Edu and Mikel Arteta and decide we're gonna go and get a number 10. Someone who can play as an 8, all right. Someone who's very versatile, but their key role is going to be creating chances alongside Martin Odegaard or without Martin Odegaard. It's a very good deal for Fabio Vieira. To only 21 years of age, he's just going to get better. That is why I like such deals. 40 million euros, even if it doesn't work out for him in the Premier League, at Arsenal, we can sell him to Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, they just sign Portuguese players, don't they? We can sell him to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves will be very happy to give us 30 million euros in Fabio Vieira. But this one, guys, I'm gonna make a prediction. Fabio Vieira at Arsenal is going to be a star. Vieira is going to be a superstar at Arsenal Football Club. In my mind, in my thoughts, I don't see him become anything else apart from the little Bernardo Silva at Manchester City. You asked me in the summer, Kosi, is he as good as Bernardo Silva? And I said, look, right now it is kind of disrespectful for Bernardo, given the fact that he's been at Monaco and come into the Premier League and done very well. So he's done a lot to just bring in a little guy and say, this guy is like Bernardo. But I'm going to say this. If Fabio Vieira gets the playing time, if Fabio Vieira gets the patience he needs, if he gets the right kind of management and coaching, he's going to be a wonderful sign. So Fabio Vieira for me is an 8 out of 10. Can play anywhere on that pitch. Can play in every attacking position. Just put him, I'll just give it an 8 out of 10. Very good deal by Edu, very good deal by Mikel Arteta. And the other thing I loved about that deal is how quickly we did it. 24 hours, the deal was done. Look, forget about the announcement that took a week. I mean, Arsenal are very good at milking every enjoyment out of a signing. The Premier League announced Fabio Vieira before Arsenal unveiled him. Ridiculous stuff. Right? But I think it's a quality signing. He's a quality signing. Many Arsenal fans don't know about him. This is my recommendation. Be excited about Fabio Vieira. Won't be very surprised if he comes into this Arsenal side, grabs the headline, and no one thinks about Martin Odegaard anymore. I think what he will provide us with, he will bring the best out of Martin Odegaard, just like the likes of Ike Gundogan and Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva do with Kevin De Bruyne. Because literally you have another creative player on the pitch that takes all the eyes off Martin Odegaard. Right now, if you want to stop Arsenal creating chances, stop Martin Odegaard. But if you don't do that, then if you have two attacking players, two attacking midfielders on the pitch, it is going to be absolutely magnificent. So 8 out of 10 for Fabio Vieira. Good work. But I still think we need a central midfielder in January or even next summer. Now, let's get to the big ones. Okay, let's start off with Matt Turner. Let's talk about Matt Turner as well. Now, this is a signing that actually has not impressed me, even in preseason. when we signed Matt Turner, my thoughts were, this signing doesn't make me excited. And I'm not going to lie, guys. Matt Turner does not excite me as a signing. But I have to back him. He's my player. He's my goalkeeper. He's my man. I've got to back him as an Arsenal fan. Now, in preseason, a couple of people have actually watched him, and his performances were not up to satisfaction. And I know Mikel Arteta knows this. I want to see whether he's going to trust him in the Europa League matches. If he's going to trust him in the Europa League, then I think we will try to judge him there. But as a signing, I'll give that one a 5 out of 10. Look, most clubs, this is what they do. When you have a classy number one, like Ramsdale, Alisson, Ederson, De Gea, in most cases, you don't have a good backup. Because with goalkeepers, you can have that kind of assurance that it's going to be there for 38 games in a league campaign. They can play 100 games in a row without dropping out, without picking up injuries, without picking up five yellow cards in a row, without getting a red card. And I think that is what Arteta is looking at here. It's like, I don't want to spend money on a goalkeeper. I don't want to spend a lot of money on a goalkeeper. I'd rather spend that money elsewhere. And in the financial world, in this financial aspect, the deal makes a lot of sense, because I don't think we spent even 5 million euros on him. But all this kind of hype, is a very good American goalkeeper and everything. I'm not buying into that BS, guys. I'm not really buying into that. So Matt Turner, 5 out of 10. I will give it average, unless otherwise. At the end of the season, we'll try to rank these signings and how they've done. In my opinion, let's see. I don't think Matt Turner is going to raise and perform above average. That is my opinion, though. Now, Gabriel Jesus is the next one. I think Gabriel is a very, very classy signing. A signing that Arsenal have not done in quite some time. Forget Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Forget Alexis Sanchez. Forget Mesut Ozil. I think the Gabriel Jesus signing reminds me the day we signed Mesut Ozil. That is the profile of signing. And the kind of impact he has actually brought in is very similar to the kind of impact Mesut Ozil brought in at Arsenal. In the first 5 games, in his first 5 games at Arsenal, Mesut Ozil had contributed to 5 goals already. Gabriel Jesus, in his first 5 games at Arsenal, he's contributed to 6 goals. So 6 goal contributions in 5 games, one more than Mesut Ozil in his first 5 games in the Arsenal shirt. So you can see the profile of signing is very relatable to Mesut Ozil. But I think it's even better for me. I think it's even more, because with Mesut Ozil, when he had come in for 43 million pounds, we were excited, we were jumping up and everything. But there was that innate kind of belief or skepticism that he might actually not work out. But with Gabriel Jesus, he comes in with this, full of confidence. He just showers us, the fans and the fan base, with a lot of confidence. He's been a winner at Manchester City. He knows the league. I think it's a better signing than Mesut Ozil, honestly, guys, because this guy has been in the Premier League proven. He didn't flop at Manchester City. He only wants to play as a forward line, as a forward, as the main guy on the forward line, and that's why he's leaving Manchester City and coming to Arsenal. So that one is a 10 out of 10. Gabriel Jesus is a 10 out of 10 signing. The impact he has already created for Arsenal, if he can create that same impact in big games against big sides. At Manchester City, he was doing that, scoring goals against Arsenal, scoring goals against Manchester City, and winning games for them. So, and we said this when he had signed. He's going to impact our season. He's going to win games for us, and he's going to change games for us. And he's already started doing that. So for me, Gabriel Jesus, fantastic signing, a 10 out of 10 signing. You don't get a 4-time Premier League winner for 40 million at 25 years of age. A player was worked with the manager, knows the league, knows the players around him now, the likes of Alexander, you don't get such a complete signing for 40 million. You don't, right? And the true example, lads, is Anthony, Darwin Núñez, Erling Haaland, and the prices that come along with them. These kind of signings are always too expensive. And the moment you can pull one out of the bag for 40 million, for 50 million and below, you've done well. So Edu, you've done well, son. That one is a remarkable signing. And that one for me just washes Edu's hands of the sins of not signing a defensive midfielder and not signing a central midfielder. I hope he can actually work on that situation better in the next windows. I mean, I've cried out for a central midfielder. I've cried out for a defensive midfielder for some time now. Edu has not responded. I don't want to blast him, so I will say this Gabriel Jesus deal nullifies the wrongs he's done in this window, and I think it's a very, very good one. But you know which is good and which is better is the Alexander Zinchenko signing. Now, let me say this, guys. Alexander Zinchenko has the ability, if he performs just the way he's performing, he has the ability to become one of the best signings Arsenal have done in the last decade. You had me right. Zinchenko will become one of the best signings Arsenal have done in the last decade. I'm saying this including and bearing in mind the arrival of Alexis Sanchez from Barcelona, the arrival of Mesut Ozil from Real Madrid, the arrival of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Borussia Dortmund. All those signings are included. But I think Alexander Zinchenko is one under the radar. And because he didn't take a lot of time to get this deal over the line, many of you don't understand how important and how good Alexander Zinchenko is. But he's one guy that will play a very vital role for Arsenal. Now that Elneny and Partey are injured, I expect him to be playing in that pivot role because he's very, very good at doing that. I expect him to play as an inverted wing back when Partey returns and when Elneny returns to fitness, to full fitness as well. And I expect him to occasionally just be part of the midfield. Look, we've had a very versatile player in Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but the versatility of Alexander Zinchenko is at a very different level. We are talking about a guy who can play as an attacking midfielder. His training, his upbringing has been as an attacking midfielder. And that is how he's brought up. If you look at him at Ukraine, playing for Ukraine, the guy is a typical midfielder. And when you play him in that inverted left back role and you allow him all the space, all the freedom to just run through the midfield, he's a fantastic signing. But the real point here is Mikel Arteta has a certain kind of system he wants his team to play. And Kieran Tierney crossing the ball all the time, that is not what Mikel Arteta is interested in. He wants his fullback, especially on the left-hand side of the pitch, to draw inside. He wants his fullback to be part of the midfield. He wants his fullback not to only bring in crosses on the byline, but also to bring in crosses deep into the midfield. That is what Alexander Zinchenko, who is brought up as a midfielder, does best. And that's why I think Tierney, however much I like him as a player, he's going to struggle with Mikel Arteta. He's going to struggle to find game time in this Mikel Arteta's team. And also, Tierney is going to struggle to create an impact when Mikel Arteta is manager. Because the traditional role at left back has been nullified. Honestly, it's gone. You're not going to find Alexander Zinchenko crossing in 100 times with no one meeting those, with no one meeting those balls in the air. Zinchenko will not do that. If he crosses the ball 2 times and no one is meeting the balls in the air, he's actually going to cut inside, take a shot, or lay a pass. Tierney doesn't do that. So for me, Alexander Zinchenko is just a magical signing. It's just a cheat code. He should be £60 million. And nobody realizes how good this guy is. So that one is a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Mikel Arteta in this transfer window, I will give him a 7 out of 10. And the reason is You are the manager. You're working closely with Edu and you know the deficiencies of your club. Try to push Edu over the line for him to get a central midfielder and a defensive midfielder. Try to make him do whatever he can. You've let go of Lucas Torreira. You've let go of Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Well done. But you've brought in no one. That is where the 9 out of 10 becomes a 7 out of 10 for Mikel Arteta. You know the deficiencies in your squad. You know what kind of positions are important in your system. The midfield cannot be weakened. The midfield cannot go weak. And he's just left it to go weak. I don't think he's done a very great job. The beautiful part of it is that he has attracted players with a winning mentality, with a lot of experience, and with that, I'm very, very glad. So Arteta, 7 out of 10. Edu, 9 out of 10. This is good. Edu, this time, he's actually done well. The one out of 10 is failing to work under pressure on deadline day. I mean, as a good technical director, you must look at your club and see, we have won 5 out of 5. Let me do something. Let me bring in a defensive midfielder. Let me show the same energy the boys are showing on the pitch. He actually didn't do that. So I'll give him a 9 out of 10 for outgoings. Honestly, guys. Bellerin is gone. I can't believe I'm saying this. Bellerin is gone. And he has signed a 1-year deal with Barcelona. I don't care. I really don't care. Pepe has also gone out of the door. And why I wanted Pepe to get out of the door is by the time he comes back next season, he will have, I think, 1 year left on his contract. And anyone can give us, a few shillings, a few pounds, a few dollars, and then he leaves. Ainsley has also left the club, which is very, very good. The only problem is Rob Holding, and I'm happy. I'm very happy to keep Rob Holding at the moment. Unlike in the summer, where I was very adamant that he should leave. Right now, I'm very happy to keep Rob Holding, just to make sure that we have a couple of defenders available for us. So, Edu, 9 out of 10. Outgoings, I'm so happy. I think the role Edu has to, the job Edu has to do now is to get the likes of Granit Xhaka out of the team, the likes of Rob Holding out of the team. When he starts making those difficult decisions, that is when I'll give him ever a 10 out of 10. But for now, he's done the job that I expected him to do. 9 out of 10 is just enough. Now, the overall window, how would I rate the overall window? It's very difficult for me. Very, very difficult. Because I'm looking at this Arsenal team with a lot of, glycerin smeared all over the face. But there's so many wounds inside. I'm talking about the central midfield. I'm talking about the defensive midfield. I'm talking about a cover for Gabriel Magalhaes. I'm talking about another winger to compete with Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. So, it's not that easy. For outgoings only, that raises the window to a 5 out of 10. Okay? Outgoings, 5 out of 10. Now, the incomings, what were our priorities? A backup right back, we've not brought in one. A backup left back, we've brought in one. 2 forwards, we've only brought in one. A central midfielder has not arrived. A defensive midfielder has not arrived. Oh, a central midfielder has arrived in Fabio Vieira, so we'll give that a positive. So it looks like we've not got a right back. We have not got a defensive midfielder. We've not got a second forward as well, and a backup centre back for Gabriel Magalhaes. So 4 priority areas have actually not been met. This is where it becomes difficult, because the quality of the signings that we have actually done is very good. And they massively improve us, and they have massively taken us to another level. But it's just not good enough. So I'll give it a 1 out of 10, and that takes it to 6 out of 10. I think the business would have been better with one more signing. That would have taken it to an 8 out of 10. But without a backup for Magalhaes, without a winger to compete with Saka and Martinelli, without a defensive midfielder, without a backup right back, I'm sorry, it's a 6 out of 10. It is going to come back to hurt us. It's a 6 out of 10. Let me know your ratings in the comment box below. How do you rate our signings? How do you rate our window? And how much would you appreciate Mikel Arteta and Edu's work? Follow me on Instagram, Kosi_19, on Twitter, Kosi Arsenal, on TikTok, Kosi Talks Football and 90 More, and of course on YouTube, your favorite podcasts, the 90 More podcast, Kosi's Arsenal Football podcast, and Kosi Talks Football podcast. I'll see you very, very soon.